Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, if you're watching this live, it is Sunday. It is Sunday, the 2nd of November. My name's Vicky Marie. I am in Spain, in mainland Spain, in Europe. And here in Spain, it is 10:26 a.m. It is 19 degrees, a lovely temperature. The sun's shining. I hope the sun's shining where you are. If it's not shining as far as the weather's concerned, I hope it's shining in your heart, in your life. Anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case. You know, this very sad missing persons case, these two lovely children, siblings, who have, disappeared into a puff of smoke, it feels like. And what we're going to look at is the latest interview by Daniel Martel, the stepfather, who a lot of people feel suspicious of, but I just don't know. The more I see it, I literally cannot make my mind up about Daniel and about whether I think he's involved or not. He's certainly not shy in speaking up. He's done many interviews, and we're going to look at his latest interview at the Vigil just a couple of days ago for Jack and Lilly. And of course, it was Jack's 5th birthday as well. Where is he? Where, as he goes past his 5th birthday, is this little boy even on this planet anymore? So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So first of all, I just want to say my thank yous. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for supporting me and my channel in any way that you do. Very special thank you, as always, to my members, to anyone who's sent me a Ko-fi, bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, PayPal'd me, sent me a nice email, left a nice comment. All those extra ways that people support my channel. But basically, the best support is to just watch, to like, to share, to subscribe. So thank you so much. Hi there, you lovely lurkers. Those of you who are watching the live but don't like to join in the chat. Happy Sunday. Hope you're all well. Hi there to all replay crew, people who can't make the live but will be watching this video later. And thank you to all of you as well for caring about these two little children who, need found, don't they, for their family's sake, for their sake. Can they possibly be still alive? It seems doubtful. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. First of all, I'm going to come into the chat and I'm going to say hello to everybody who's brave enough to come into the chat. Hey, Blue. Hey, I was thinking about you. Your boys, were they at that concert? Your boys went to the Oasis concert, didn't they, in Melbourne, you were saying? And there was a flare throw. Did you see that? Somebody just threw a flare up into the air, and Liam Gallagher had a bit of a mouthful for them on social media, didn't he? But I was thinking about your boys because you told us. I didn't know if they were there. Hi, Tracy. Hope it wasn't them that threw the flare. I doubt very much that it was. Oh, 30 degrees in Melbourne today. Yes, this is very true. Blue, he's always been interviewed, and he's not strictly speaking the parent, is he? He's a sort of, they were living with him, and of course he has got another child with Malaya, who is their step sort of sister. So, he has got some he's got connection. At the end of the day, they were living there. But no, he's not the parent. Malaya's been conspicuous with her absence as far as speaking out is concerned. But, everybody deals with things differently. Daniel has passed the lie detector test. We have to remember that always. Some people do like talking to the media and other people don't. It's quite strange, isn't it? And of course, he's not as intimately connected to Jack and Lilly as Malaya and her family are because of the biological connection. But it doesn't mean to say he doesn't care, does it? So I don't know. ultimately what I'm saying is I haven't got a clue. But he does keep coming out and doing these interviews. And, you know, it's hard to know, does that make him more suspicious or less suspicious? Anyway, you know, it's just something that he does. The police have said not charged anyone, have they? But yeah, and the lie detector's a problem. But anyway, hi Lily. Hi Daniel. Happy Sunday to you. Ah, yeah, they were there, were they? I mean, what a stupid thing for someone to do. First of all, how they got the flare in there, I don't know. Then they were waving it around, and then they threw it. One person just threw it up into the air. It could have landed anywhere. It could have could you imagine the panic? Well, your boy's been there. How dangerous. Anyway, Liam Gallagher came on social media in his usual quiet fashion and gave them a mouthful, a complete mouthful. Whoever it was doing that. So I hope they'll find them, because it was caught on somebody's mobile phone. So hopefully they'll get charged. You can't do that. A bloody massive concert like that with all those people there throwing a flare up in the air. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, sorry. I'm waffling as usual. But of course, you know, some things are important. Let me put my waffle emoji up. Yeah, now normally when you go into a concert, you know, I've not been to many big concerts, but I went to see Eminem a couple of years ago, and yeah, you have to go through the security and everything, don't you? But anyway, a flare, I suppose it's not the same as a gun or a knife or something like that, but anyway. So let's see what's going on in this case. So just a quick reminder to anybody who maybe doesn't know about this case, maybe you're new to my channel, maybe you're new to true crime in general. My name's Vicky Marie, and I talk about true crime most of the time. I talk about all sorts of things really, but mainly it's true crime, and we follow cases right through to the end, if you like. If we start off following a case, we don't let go of it until the end. But this is a very mysterious case. These two children, 4 and 6. Well, Jack is now 5. He's just passed his 5th birthday. They've been missing for months and months. 6 months. 1 minute they were there. This is in Nova Scotia in Canada, a remote property, a relatively remote property. We're surrounded by woods, and they were ill that day. It's all a bit strange, isn't it? Their mother apparently contacted the school at about 6 o'clock that morning. It was a Friday morning. Said the children won't be coming in. They weren't feeling very well. Then apparently they were playing outside. Well, they were playing in the kitchen when they disappeared. Somehow they must have got out of the trailer. The mother, Malaya, and the stepdad, Daniel, they were in bed with their other child, you know, a child that they've got between them called Meadow, a baby, or a very young child, and they could hear the kids playing, apparently. And then suddenly they couldn't hear them anymore, and they'd gone. And Daniel Martel, his mum, Janie, who also lives on the property, she said she could hear them outside playing 1 minute, and then they were gone. And that's it. Haven't been seen since, except for a boot print that was found, apparently, a bit of a blanket. You know, it's all very, you know, that people, Daniel's stepfather says the blanket was a plant. Daniel seems to think that the mother Malaya has got something to do with their disappearance, that she's arranged for them to be taken away. I don't believe that. I mean, why would she do it like that? You know, she's the mother. She could have waited till Daniel was asleep and got someone to come and pick all of them up. I don't believe that, that is what happened. But having said that, I don't know. This is a really, really mysterious case. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody's been named as a suspect as far as the police are concerned. Everybody concerned has passed lie detector tests. So do the answers lie somewhere else? There's the neighbours who said that they heard cars driving around in the early hours of the morning, but the police have come out and said no, they've got no corroborative evidence of that. So is it something to do with the neighbours? At the moment it could be anything. Or have they befallen an accident? Are they in those woods somewhere that have been searched many, many times? Dogs have been taken out there, nothing's been found, but that doesn't mean to say that they're not still there. There's water around. Did they drown? Literally, or did someone take them away? Because there is a road not far from the property, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they could have been wandering up near that road and somebody enticed them into a car. We don't know. All we do know for certain is they haven't been seen for 6 months, which is a long time. So we know one thing that we also do know is unless somebody has taken them away, these children cannot still be alive, because a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, or in fact now 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, cannot look after themselves for 6 months. Can't feed themselves. They can't find get their own water. They haven't gone off to start a new life anywhere. This is not like adults going missing. When children go missing, unless an adult has taken them, they cannot look after themselves. So where are they? So it doesn't look good. It's very, very sad. But there's always hope, isn't there? There's almost hoping it's one of those cases. Quite often when we cover missing children's cases, the best case scenario is if somebody has taken them, but somebody who is looking after them, not somebody, who wanted to harm them. But, if they have been taken off by Malay's family, or, that's the best case scenario at the end of the day, isn't it? So don't forget to let me know in comments what you think might have happened. Now, you may think Daniel's responsible. You may think Malay is responsible. You may think they're in it together. I don't mind, any comment is welcome, your theories, your opinions, but just say them in a respectful way. I don't want bad language in there. Be respectful to each other if you've got different views. That's the only rules of the chat, really. Just be respectful and have your opinion. If you say, I think Daniel does know what happened to them, that's not the same as, I think Daniel's a dirty, blah, 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 and blah. So just express your opinions, and but in a respectful way, because we're all entitled to our views at the end of the day. But what we must remember is there's nothing official yet at all. No suspects, lie detector tests passed, all of them, not just, one, but all of them passed. So I think surely they would have failed a lie detector test somewhere along the line if they had something to hide. Anyway. So, as I said, there was a vigil the other day. It was Jack's birthday. Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. God, I hate that. When you feel I just want to sneeze, but it's gone away now. And there was a vigil held, and that's what we're going to look at. And during this vigil, Daniel was interviewed again, and he has said he does not believe that they wandered into the woods. He does not believe that they wandered into the woods. So where are they then? I mean, I think Daniel clearly believes that somebody took them away. Anyway, we'll see what he's got to say in a moment. I'll just read the article first. So the stepfather of 2 Nova Scotia kids, so this is Nova Scotia in Canada, who have been missing for close to 6 months, goodness me, 6 months, says he does not believe the siblings are in the woods near the family's rural home. Lilly 6 and Jack 5, that's what he is now, were reported missing on May the 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station in Pictou County. The children's family has told media and police, according to court documents, that the siblings wandered away that morning. The 2 kids remain missing despite extensive searches by various agencies, the use of cadaver dogs, and Royal Canadian Mounted Police combing through more than 860 tips, 8,060 video files and forensic testing. I believe at this point in the case that they're not in the woods and they didn't wander into the woods, said Daniel Martel, who was in a relationship with the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, and lived at the home with the children. Speculations run wild, but I'd like everybody to know that I'm working with the RCMP's Major Crimes Unit almost every day, just trying to figure stuff out. You know, he certainly put himself in the heart of the investigation, Daniel, but of course he is in the heart of the investigation, but he keeps trying to, you know, are the police just giving him free rein, you know, and waiting for him to slip up? Do the police suspect him? They say they don't. So in September, 2 RCMP police dogs specifically trained in human remains detection were brought in to search a 40-kilometre area near the home. And earlier this month, the RCMP said those dogs did not find any remains. And Daniel has previously told Global News that the police administered a polygraph test with him, which he said he passed. Oh no, I didn't know this. RCMP have declined to confirm or deny this. I thought they had confirmed it. Anyway, that's interesting. He said he remains outspoken on the case, and some may view him as a loose cannon, but he wants to keep the public informed. I don't know if I'm the best voice to be speaking for Lilly and Jack, but I'm still going to do it anyway. For the kids, he said. Now, of course, it's not unknown for killers to put themselves in the centre of investigations. Look at the Sullivan murders, Ian Huntley. He quite often, he liked being interviewed, didn't he? He would sort of put himself at the centre of it. And Maxine Carr as well. It's not unheard of, is it? And it's strange that Malaya is the complete opposite. The mother, the biological mother, she did one interview right at the beginning. Since then, she's hardly said anything, really. She made a bit of an impassioned appeal on Facebook a few days ago or a couple of weeks ago. She wasn't at this vigil. She left the very next day. You know, these are the strange things, aren't they? The very next day, Malaya left this property, even though her children were missing. She left and went where we don't know where she went. Also, the baby Meadow has been taken off Malaya. So the baby is in foster care. So both the parents, Daniel and Malaya, they're having supervised visits with Meadow. You know, and then Malaya blocked Daniel. She changed her Facebook status to single. You know, why? Why? Does she think Daniel's got something to do with it? Does she know Daniel's got something to do with it? Were her and Daniel together in covering up? Now, I've just, you know, you can't sort of believe that a mother would do that, could you? But I've literally just finished off a video that I'm going to release later today as a premiere about a case in the UK. And people do things you would never believe. You would never believe that a mother could cover up like that, would you? But they do. They do often. and although it's rarer for a mother or for a woman to murder her own children or collude it's not unheard of. I think what I'm impressed with at the moment, just in general, and especially since I've started talking about true crime on YouTube, is the banality, the ordinariness of evil. There's just people leading ordinary lives. People out there, people like us, your neighbour, your friend, your relative, leading their ordinary lives, just quietly, or so it seems. And you think, but you know what? The banality of evil is incredible. As soon as that door closes on somebody's home, you have no clue what's going on behind it. It doesn't matter how it looks on social media with all the smiles and perfect families. Doesn't matter how people present themselves when they're out in public. Oh, hi, when your neighbours, oh, hi, and they're smiling and with their kids and everything. Doesn't matter if you never hear anything bad coming from that home. None of that matters. You still don't know what's actually going on. And in the meantime, these people that are committing terrible acts are going to work, going out for a meal, getting on a bus, driving around, members of clubs, playing golf, I don't know, going to book clubs, or they're leading their banal normal life. I don't mean to make it's not bad to have an ordinary life. Most of us, that's what we like. We don't, having if your life's too interesting, sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes just a bit of peace is good. But what I'm saying is leading a normal life, doing all the normal things, not doing anything extraordinary. Monsters aren't drooling, look like, they have not always got piercings and tattoos, and they don't look like anything except a normal person. They're not necessarily immigrants, or they're not necessarily, there's all kinds of monsters out there. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, you can't, there's nobody that's above evil. You just do not know what's going on in people's heads. So I've forgotten so I was waffling again there, wasn't I? But that's what struck me, this video that I've got coming out later. And not only that case, but lots of other cases that I've covered. The banality of evil. You can never think that just because someone looks normal or seems to have this normal family life, and, they're not, killers are not all loners, who sort of only come out at night, or, don't have any friends, or, act weird, or normal people can be monsters. So we don't know about Daniel. I mean, he comes over as relatively normal, but he says, I just think with all the accusations and allegations thrown out there, people don't see me as the most liked person, I guess. Hatred runs wild and speculations run wild against me. And these are the kids at the centre of it all. It's frozen in time for now, aren't they? Will we ever see any other photos of Lily and Jack? Or these sort of photos that were currently available to us to post? It's very sad, isn't it? Will there ever be other photos of them? So a vigil was held on Wednesday night outside the RCMP detachment in Stellarton, Nova Scotia, to mark Jack's 5th birthday, which Martel and some other relatives attended. Everything I do is for the kids. I didn't miss the first vigil, and I will definitely not miss this one, he said. Definitely not on Jack's birthday, an important date for everybody over the last 6 months. I would not miss this for the world. And he said that birthdays were always full of laughter for the children, and that sense of joy is missing this year. There was always laughter in the air when they were always so excited for everything. Now you come home and it's not fun, it's just silence. And you know that's a real burden, not just on me, but on Malaya as well. Vigil organiser Kent Corbett said the prayer vigil was an opportunity to bring the community together in a show of support. We can let the family know that Pictou County, Nova Scotia and beyond are not going to rest until we can find answers and bring Jack and Lily home. And the children's maternal aunts, Cheryl Robinson and Hayley Ferdinand, were also at the vigil. Ferdinand said the accusations and speculation in the case have been difficult for the family and cruel, in addition to the pain of not knowing where the kids are. It's absolutely miserable. It's a nightmare that I wish we could just wake up from. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, she said. Everybody is desperate for answers, but so are we. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Now, we're going to have a look at these videos on the way back. I'm going to go to the end of the article, then we're going to look at the videos and finish with the video of Daniel. Robert Parker, the warden for the municipality of Pictou County, said the children's disappearance has been weighing heavily on the whole region. It's funny, isn't it? Because they do, you know, these events, these mysteries, they have a ripple effect on the whole community. It takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a whole county to protect these children. We've seen the pictures of little Jack and little Lily so often now, and our hearts ache. We want to do something. Everybody wants to do something to help, but there's very little we can do. We have to rely on the RCMP. That's their job. But people need answers. Now, we've talked about this before, haven't we, on streams? There is nothing we can do except take an interest in this case, pray. I pray for them every day, along with other missing children and missing people. You know, it's like there's so many families deserve answers, and not only, obviously, the children themselves. You hope that they're safe, though hope goes, doesn't it, as time goes on. But the families and what they're going through, I just don't know how these families get through day by day, you know, with the not knowing. So he cautioned against speculation, but, you know, people are going to speculate. It's pointless, really. You know, to me, I think I would say, yes, speculate, just don't be nasty. You can't, of course people are going to speculate. Of course they are. That's never, you know, people aren't going to stop speculating. And they speculate because they care. But he urged people to stick to the facts. And that's true. You have to stick to the facts when it comes to spreading information about the case. And he too admitted he didn't believe the kids were in the woods either. So he's just told everyone not to speculate, and now he's speculating that they're not in the woods. Never mind. God bless the search and rescue people, but they've had so many people walk, and they had the cadaver dogs in, and they've got helicopters and everything. And the majority of people that I talk to do not believe the little ones are in the woods. So he speculates. Let's have a look at the video.
So the ideal solution is we locate them. We got to find these kids.
For Nick Oldreeve of Please Bring Me Home, the goal of their involvement in the search for Lilly and Jack Sullivan, who went missing on May 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station, is to shake the tree.
You know, maybe it implores somebody to send in a tip if they know something. And, you know, or the search efforts continue.
There's a massive reward, isn't there? There's a big reward out, and still nobody has come forward. So that always makes you worry, really, that it's ever going to get solved. Because when massive rewards are offered and still no one comes forward.
And they're in those woods.
He says the nonprofit group has only been involved in the case for about 5 days, but adds the children's grandmother, Belinda Gray, had reached out to them back in May. Oldrieve says they've had success so far in getting more information out, circulating a statement on October 13th that they say is from Lily and Jack's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray.
Yeah, we read
She writes, "I will never stop searching for my children until they are found and brought home safe and sound. Someone somewhere knows something, so please bring my babies home." RCMP couldn't verify the accuracy of the statement circulating on social media, but know that Malaya Brooks Murray has confirmed authorship of a written statement. As for next steps, the organization is encouraging people to come forward with tips and are considering doing a search in November, adding it will most likely be a search of waterways in the area.
It's really difficult because
Yes, I remember we talked about that. They're going to do a search in November if nothing's come up. It's almost like a last-ditch search before the snows come, because once the snows come, that'll be it till next spring. That's when the police are planning to search the next spring, that they say will be a prime time to search, because when the snow's gone and the trees, the leaves have gone and everything off the trees, foliage, etc., that's the prime time to search. Because those little kids, they could be in there somewhere, couldn't they? You know, deceased, unfortunately. But yeah, this missing persons organisation, they're going to search in November, a last ditch. I think it was around the 15th of November.
Everything be thrown at this area for searching. So, but it's just, it's an extra layer of precaution to make sure that they weren't underwater while searches were happening.
Nova Scotia RCMP told Global News they're aware Please Bring Me Home is planning an independent search, but add the initiative is separate from their own investigation. On October 8th, RCMP said they are still exploring all possible options in the search for Lily and Jack. Angela Capobianco, Global News, Halifax.
Okay, so that's that video. Let's look at the others. So going back up, so that's the video from the Missing Persons organisation. There's another video. Now let's have a look at this one before we go to Daniel's interview.
A new update in the investigation into the disappearance of 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan is raising more questions than answers. The sister and brother went missing nearly 5 months ago, and on Wednesday, the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crimes Unit announced their efforts to locate the children continue.
Are you considering this a criminal investigation yet?
We're still investigating it as a missing person act. We don't have, we follow facts and evidence. So we collect the information, and from that we base our decision making.
But for former officers like Jim Hoskins, everything made public in this case suggests criminal activity.
So you got 2 kids missing under those kind of circumstances. To me, definitely a major crime and a possible criminal offense somewhere. Something nefarious, to me, may very well have happened.
Not to mention a $150,000 reward.
$150,000 reward has not brought anyone out of the woodwork. So that makes you feel really there are, no one's going to come forward. If they haven't come forward now with a reward of 150,000 Canadian dollars, they're not going to come forward. So that was interesting what that ex-police person said. That he thinks it's definitely nefarious, definitely foul play. But of course he can say that because he's a retired officer. You've got at the end of the day, I think if the bodies were found, that might make it, they might start looking at then as murder. But as far as they know so far, or they've got evidence for, these kids could be alive somewhere. They could have been, taken away for whatever reason. So, for the actual police who are not retired, they've got to think of a future criminal case as well. If something bad's happened to these kids, like foul play wise, they've got a criminal case they've got to concentrate on.
Word for information, something Hoskins says you don't typically see in missing persons files.
All the techniques for a major crime are on display. They just haven't said it is. a criminal investigation.
When the search first began back in May, sniffer dogs were called on scene. These dogs were specifically trained to pick up human scent, including that of recent human remains. Near the end of summer, human remains detecting dogs searched the area. The difference being these dogs can detect the scent of human remains months and even years following death. The dogs and their handlers scoured the 40-kilometer search area over the past few weeks, but turned up nothing.
98% of those dogs usually find something if it's there, especially after 5 months. The longer decomposition takes place, the stronger the scent is for these dogs.
McCammon says there is no evidence at this time that may lead to criminal charges, but his team is open to every possibility as the search for Jack and Lilly drags on.
I know there's a lot of public interest in this file, and we want answers just like everybody else, and we're working as hard as we possibly can to get there. We will continue to gather information, review, and take action.
He encourages anyone with information to contact Nova Scotia RCMP or Crime Stopper.
Okay, so let's have a look at Daniel's interview now from the Vigil. Don't forget to let me know what you think in chat. Do you think Daniel is responsible? And if so, why? What is, you know, I just can't work Daniel out at all. But anyway, let's see what he had to say at the Vigil.
Are in the woods near their home in Lansdowne Station.
Everything's been searched at this point, so I think everyone's just looking to, you know, what's the alternate, you know, what could happen to the kids other than being in the woods.
The kids were reported missing from their home in Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, there have been extensive searches with cadaver dogs brought in and RCMP combing through more than 800 tips and over 8,000 video files. Despite little results, Martel says he's doing everything he can to advocate for the kids.
You know, I'm just trying to keep the public informed as much as I can. And
yeah, so he always says that he's speaking up for the kids. You know, I just don't know. I mean, is he or isn't he? I mean, what do you think of it? He looks tired. He looks stressed out. He will be. He's taking a lot of flack from everyone thinking that he's involved. And, you know, what if he isn't? It seems unfair, but, you know, there are red flags, of course. There's the black eyes that reportedly the children had or Jack had. You know, there's the fact that of Malaya just leaving him the next day, blocking him, putting her thing as single, her Facebook status. What's behind all that? You know, 1 minute they're all supposedly her, Daniel and the baby Meadow are all, you know, having a doze on a Friday morning while the kids are playing in the kitchen. And the next minute Malaya's left taking the baby, marked herself as single on her Facebook and blocked him. So what's the reasons behind all that, I wonder?
I don't know if I'm the best voice to be speaking for Lilly and Jack, but, you know, I'm still going to do it anyway and for the kids.
Martel was one of many who attended the silent vigil at Stellarton's RCMP detachment to mark Jack's 5th birthday on Wednesday evening. Many of who came with the hope the event will keep the story at the forefront. For the maternal aunts of the kids, the last 6 months have been difficult, especially with speculation and accusations online about the family.
Absolutely miserable. It's a nightmare that I wish we could just wake up from, and, you know, I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Vigil organizer Kent Corbett says the event is an opportunity to show support to the family and bring the community together.
We can let the family know that Pictou County and Nova Scotia and beyond are not going to rest until we find answers and bring Jack and Lilly home.
Pictou County's warden adds their disappearance has significantly impacted the area, but cautions against speculation about the case.
Yeah, there they go again, cautioning against speculation, but that's not going to happen, is it?
They belong to all of us. It takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village, the whole county, to protect these children.
For Martel, he's touched with how many...
Now, you know, whatever you think or don't think of Daniel, I mean, what is he, either very clever or very stupid to come out so publicly all the time? he's putting himself into the public view. He doesn't have to. He didn't have to attend that vigil. Is he thinking that he'll attend the vigil because that looks like he's more innocent, or does it make him look more guilty, or would it not matter what he did because people have just decided that he's guilty? Are the police just waiting for him to slip up, or do the police not think he's got anything to do with it?
People came out for the kids.
People are still standing here in the cold just, for Lily and Jack, especially Jack on his birthday.
Angela Capobianco, Global News, Stellarton.
Let's just watch that again.
After almost 6 months, Daniel Martell doesn't believe Lilly and Jack Sullivan are in the woods near their home in Lansdowne Station.
Everything's been searched at this point, so I think everyone's just looking to, what's the alternate, what could have happened to the kids other than being in the woods.
The kids were reported missing from their home in Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, there have been extensive searches with cadaver dogs brought in and RCMP combing through more than 800 tips and over 8,000 video files. Despite little results, Martell says he's doing everything he can to advocate for the kids.
I'm just trying to keep the public informed as much as I can. And I don't know if I'm the best voice to be speaking for Lily and Jack, but I'm still going to do it anyway and for the kids.
Martell was one of many who attended the silent vigil at Stellarton's RCMP detachment to mark Jack's 5th birthday on Wednesday evening. Many of who came with the hope the event will keep the story at the forefront. For the maternal aunts of the kids, the last 6 months have been difficult, especially with speculation and accusations online about the family.
Absolutely miserable. It's a nightmare that I wish we could just wake up from. And
so I think these Malaya's sisters, or I'm not sure if I think they're Malaya's sisters that have turned up at the vigil. Malaya's not there, but her sisters are there. Malaya's probably hiding from the media because she's taken so much hate as well. That's difficult to take, and her way of dealing with it probably is hiding away, whereas Daniel's way of dealing with it is just brazening it out.
I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Vigil organizer Kent Corbett says the event is an opportunity to show support to the family and bring the community together.
We can let the family know that Pictou County and Nova Scotia and beyond are not going to rest until we find answers and bring Jack and Lily home.
Pictou County's warden adds their disappearance has significantly impacted the area, but cautions against speculation about the case.
They belong to all of us. It takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village, the whole county, to protect these children.
For Martell, he's touched with how many people came out for the kids.
People are still standing here in the cold just, for Lily and Jack, especially Jack on his birthday.
Angela Capobianco, Global News, Stellarton, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, let's have a look at that again, just with Dan. Daniel he looks very stressed, very tired. And when he said about Jack, and he looked very sad. But he would be sad. I mean, the thing is, even if Daniel knows what happened to these kids, if he did do something to them, he'd still be sad, because I'm sure he would, he'd be wishing, let's take the worst case scenario, if Daniel had done something to the children, I'm sure he'd be sorry about it now, but of course he can't take it back. But the thing is, if he did, if we let's. Right, we're going to speculate, and you let me know what you think. If he did, let's take it that he did do something to those children. Now, don't forget, it's very unusual for 2 children to be killed. If we're thinking that he's killed them, which I know a lot of people do. Kill 2 children? You'd have to be really angry, wouldn't you, to do that? Why would you do that? Why would he kill? Did he kill one and then he had to kill the other one to keep them quiet? But then he didn't kill Malaya or Meadow, presuming that this is what he did. I'm not saying he did it. I'm just trying to talk it out in my own head. So let's presume. So they were last seen the day before, weren't they, on the Thursday, and like a family outing. So I think most people that think that maybe Malaya or Daniel or the two of them together did something to Lily and Jack think it happened probably on the Thursday night or the early hours of the morning. And by Friday morning, when Malaya sent the email to the school, if it was Malaya who sent the email to the school, do we even know that for certain? An email was sent to the school in the early hours, well, about 6:15 a.m. on the Friday. An email was sent to the school to say the children would not be coming in that day, that they weren't very well. So I think people who think some foul play has happened on the part of Daniel and or Malaya think that it probably happened on the Thursday evening or Thursday night, early hours in the morning. So let's presume that that's true, that Daniel did something for whatever reason. I mean, my thing would be, why? Also, why have the police not found any evidence of the children being killed? They would have been killed surely in the house if they were killed. Why did the dogs not find anything? Wouldn't there be some evidence of violence or something in the forensics? And then what did he do with Jack and Lily? Because was it about 10 o'clock the next morning, they were reported missing and the police were all there and that. So I know that's quite a long time in one way, but what would you do with the bodies? You've got to think about it logically. Where are the bodies then? And was that him then that was driving around, according to the neighbours in that area? Was that him? And was he disposing of the bodies? But he didn't go that far. It's a real sort of it's a real conundrum, isn't it? One, why did he do it? Like, if we're presuming that he did it, I'm not saying he did it. This is all just speculation. It's just, talking it out in my own head. Because people normally have a reason for doing things, even if it might not be a reason that we understand. They normally have a reason, don't they? Hi, Kevin. Yes, the only victims are the children, indeed. So, why did he do it, if he did it? Where did he put the bodies? How did he do it? There's part of me that thought maybe, the police have not reported finding any meth lab or anything like that in that house. A lot of people were casting shades. I know there were drugs and there's a meth lab and this, that and the other, but we haven't got any official confirmation of that, have we? But which doesn't mean to say there wasn't one. But did the children get hold of something they shouldn't have got hold of? And maybe they took something by mistake and that killed them. I mean, that has happened. Children, they'll put anything in their mouth, won't they? Especially if it looks colourful, if it was tablets or whatever, and they thought it was sweets. That's a possibility, isn't it? Or did they break something or, as children do, interfere with something that angered Daniel? There's got to be a reason. If you think he did it, why did he do it? There's got to be a reason. It's not enough just to say, oh, well, he's a bit suspicious. It's not enough, is it? You can't take someone to court and prosecute them. Oh, I don't like the look of his eyes, or, as much as you might get that impression from someone. And maybe Daniel, I was just speaking the honest truth, I cannot decide what I think about Daniel. There are some times that I think, I don't know. And then other times I think, no, he comes over as sincere. I literally don't know. I don't get a strong feeling. Normally you do get strong feelings. I remember with Stefan Stearns and Madeline Soto, it just seemed evident right from the beginning that Stefan was, responsible for Madeline Madeline's disappearance. You know, even before Madeline was found or before he was arrested, when he came up and did that interview. Well, when Jennifer Soto was doing the interview and he came up and sat behind her like Nosferatu, cracking his knuckles. It always felt like Stefan was involved, didn't it? Whereas with Daniel, I literally just cannot decide what I even think. And so you can only go by the evidence, which is that apparently he's passed the lie detector test, or he says he has, and now the Royal Canadian Police, they're not confirming it though. Why don't they confirm it? I think, who else was that? They wouldn't do that with Sebastian Rogers' case either. You know, you had like Seth and the Proudfoots saying that they'd passed lie detector tests, but the police won't confirm it or deny it. You know, the thing is, I think at the end of the day, as far as the police are concerned, it's an ongoing investigation that may result in a trial. So they've got to preserve all the integrity of the investigation, haven't they? They don't want to let, you know, if it turns out that Daniel does get charged, or Malaya, or anyone, the police don't want, when it comes to trial, someone stand up and say, oh, well, that you leaked this information and that compromised my client, blah, 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 blah. So it's a very tricky situation, you know. Yeah, exactly, Tracy. Normally, I don't know what the actual percentage is or the statistics, but when children go missing, it's, you know, quite often the parents. The parents always come under the first suspicion, and that's how it should be in any investigation. When anyone goes missing, is murdered or whatever, the police will start close and go outwards. They start with the family, investigate the family, whoever it is, and then as they eliminate people, they start to go wider out, don't they, looking at different scenarios. So of course we're not a party to what the police are thinking, or, you know, we only know what they tell us, no suspicious circumstances, but that happens quite often. They say there's no suspicious circumstances when actually they think there are. So, you know, we can't, all we can do is speculate, really, at the moment. You know, it's all right them telling us not to speculate. What else can we do? Hi, David. So, yeah, now, and I'm thinking of other child cases like that where the parents weren't responsible, like the Soham murders, Holly and Jessica in Soham in the UK. And I'm sure their parents came under suspicion initially, you know, which must be awful, isn't it? But then you'd sort of be inviting it, really, in a way, because you just want them to get that over with, investigate you, get that, you know, cleared up, and let them move on to finding who did it. But I'm sure, Holly and Jessica's parents probably initially were under suspicion. Just briefly, and it's not under suspicion, that's not the right thing to say, investigated. Yeah, that's your first investigation, isn't it? Sorry, I might have to just let the dog out, won't we say? Who let the dog out? 1 minute. Come on then. Come on. Hey. Sorry, I'm going to have to give her some food as well. She needs some food, don't you? Let's get some food. Yeah. There you go. shoe sorted. So I'm back. Yeah, just had to feed that little, well, big dog and open the door so she can go to the loo if she needs to. So, yeah, very odd. This case, I think, you know, I just hope it doesn't turn into like a Summer Wells scenario or Sebastian Rogers. Hope one way or another something is discovered about what's happened to these kids. Let's have another look at Daniel talking.
Angela Capobianco, Global News, Stellarton, Nova Scotia. For Martel, he's touched with how many people came out for the kids.
You know, people are still standing here in the cold just, you know, for Lily and Jack, especially Jack on his birthday.
Angela Capobianco, Global News, Stellarton, Nova Scotia.
You know, and there he is at the vigil, but people do that as well, you know. Look at Scott Peterson. Sorry, let's just go back to that. Might be able to find another video of him talking, but we'll see. Yeah, Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson's husband, he went to the vigil, didn't he? While he was at the vigil for Lacey, he was phoning his girlfriend Amber Frey and telling her he was in Paris for New Year celebrations. You know, you just cannot. This is what I was saying earlier about the banality of evil. You cannot presume. People, they've got such front. You know, you think, oh God, how could they do that? How could he turn up at the vigil? You know, I'm not saying that Daniel did anything, but if it results that he does, you know, people, how could he turn up at the vigil like that and be so barefaced? But people do. You know, people do. They turn up at vigils, they go to the funerals, they make, you know, emotional statements. Look at Barry Morphew making emotional statements. Oh, please, you know, come back. How can they do it? Knowing, you know, what they've done to these victims, but they do it all the time. You know, that case in the UK about the little boy and the bus driver, Darren Vickers, who actually ended up living with the little boy's parents, inveigled himself into their life and into the investigation. And all the time it was him that had kidnapped their little boy and murdered him, essayed him and murdered him. You cannot underestimate the evil that people that are capable of doing, and they're not people, you know, like they're not sort of gibbering monsters who come out with the full moon. They're normal people that we live amongst, our neighbours, our friends, our family. Just don't know, do you? It's quite scary, actually. You know, why can't somebody invent a machine? You know, Elon Musk, where there's all these going to space and all that waste of money and time. Maybe he should try and invent a machine that can tell when someone's lying. And I mean a proper machine. I don't mean like a lie detector machine. I mean something that can literally read people's minds. There's the thing about lie detector machines is currently, I mean, they're a useful tool, aren't they, in an investigation? But of course, it can't be used in a court of law. So, because they're not 100%, are they? You know, people do beat lie detector tests. Sometimes people fail them when they're actually innocent, you know, because they're nervous. I always think, God, if I had to take a lie detector test, I would definitely fail it because I'd be so nervous. I'll be so nervous. Now, I don't know, for those of you out there that know that I'm watching the Celebrity Traitors, which is on at the moment on BBC. I think it's the final next week. And Alan Carr, the comedian, he is one of the traitors, isn't he? And in the last episode, last Thursday, they asked all the traitors, you know, to say, I am not a traitor, yeah? And, or I am a faithful. I am a faithful. That's what they had to say. And when it came to Alan Carr, he just couldn't say it. He just started laughing. And so, of course, all the others were like, oh, come on, we know now that you are a traitor. And he's going, no, I'm just nervous. I'm just nervous. But, I mean, to me, they've never guessed so far that he's a traitor because he's the worst liar. I think he must be quite an honest person in life, in real life, because he's actually rubbish at lying. And he's just slipped under the radar, I think, because he puts on this funny persona, because he's a comedian, and he sort of, I'm so silly, like that's how he's sort of slipped under the radar. But to me, it just seems obvious that he's been lying. But not everybody. Like, I'd be like that. I'm rubbish at lying, so I'm sure I would fail a lie detector test. So a lot of people fail them when really they're innocent, and a lot of people pass them when really they're guilty. So it's difficult with lie detectors, isn't it? I mean, they're a useful tool. I mean, they definitely helped with the Chris Watts case, wasn't it? Chris Watts thought he could beat the lie detector, and he failed the lie detector. And so that encouraged the truth to come out, even though he at first said, it was Shanann that had murdered the children. And, that's what he first said, but he did eventually admit to what he'd done. So that you could say that the lie detector helped there, didn't it? But there are lots of cases where the lie detector has not helped because people have beat it, and unfortunately as well, I think if the police give someone a lie detector test and they pass it, does that mean the police are going to look elsewhere when really they should still be concentrating on that person? Or do police not take it so seriously as that? I suppose it depends what other evidence they've got, and it makes you wonder then, or if somebody takes a lie detector test and they fail it, will the police then blindly try to pin them down for the crime, even though, they failed the lie detector, maybe because they were nervous rather than because they're guilty? So it's difficult, isn't it? Now, and as I say, Daniel, I cannot make my mind up about this guy. Let's watch again.
Lilly and Jack Sullivan are in the woods near their home in Lansdowne Station.
Everything's been searched at this point, so I think everyone's just looking to, what's the alternate.
I don't know, this part of me thinks so he seems sincere, but then you think, why is he doing all these interviews?
What could happen to the...
Now, he does that shoulder shrug there. If you watch any body analysis type videos, they always say when the people raise their shoulders like that, it can indicate a lie. But I don't know about body analysis. It can not only normally really be explained in retrospect, can't it? If tomorrow Daniel's arrested and charged, and it's the police say they've got enough evidence against him, all the body behavioural analysts will be out analysing his behaviour and saying, oh yes, this means that and that means that. But I think it's body language experts, they can only do it really in retrospect. But anyway, supposedly the shrug of the shoulder like that, I think his eyes are a little bit, he looks tired, he looks sort of, it's almost like, but then he would be as well. You would be if you'd been accused of murdering 2 children all this time. And, this is what I mean. I think you can always explain away people's behaviour either way. So, let's just watch that shrug of the shoulders again.
To the case, other than being in the woods.
The kids were reported missing from their home in Tik-Tok County on May 2nd.
To the case, the alternate, what could have happened.
See that little shrug of the shoulders? What could have happened? behavioural experts, they normally say that indicates a lie, but I don't know.
The kids, other than being in the woods.
The kids were reported missing from their home in Pictou County on.
So let's see if I'll leave this to play, and I'm just going to see if I can see
May 2nd. Since then, there have been extensive searches with cadaver dogs brought in and RCMP combing through more than 800 tips and over 8,000 video files. Despite little results, Martel says he's doing everything he can to advocate for the kids.
You know, I'm just trying to keep the public informed as much as I can. And I don't know if I'm the best voice to be speaking for Lilly and Jack, but, you know, I'm still going to do it anyway and for the kids.
Martel was one of many who attended the silent vigil at Stellarton's RCMP detachment to mark Jack's 5th birthday on Wednesday evening. Many of who came with the hope.
Right, I found another one, another video. See if there's anything different in this one. I'll just put that other one down.
A birthday card for Jack without the celebration. His loved ones say they wish they were having cake instead of a vigil.
It's Jack's 5th birthday. It's something that he should be here to celebrate in person. We shouldn't be.
So again, these are Malaya's sisters, I believe. Wonder what they think of it all. So they're there obviously to represent that side of the family, but Malaya is not there, and I don't blame her really. I think Malaya's probably in bits.
Where we are, so it's very important that we had the time to do this.
This is my birthday promise to Jack.
Here's Belinda. So this is Jack and Lily's biological dad's mother. We've watched her speak a few times. She gets, you know, she's so very genuine. I think the genuineness just shines off her. She's very upset. She unfortunately believes that the children are gone, you know, deceased. But, you know, again, we don't know for certain.
Every step is a prayer whispered to the wind. A hope that a search may help our hearts to mend. We hold steadfast the pictures of Lilly and Jack, seeking answers to bringing them back.
About 40 people gathered outside the Stellarton.
No, because now she's quite often spoken, hasn't she? But her son, you know, Jack and Lily's actual father, he hasn't spoken really publicly.
An RCMP detachment to hear poems, speeches, and shed tears for the 2 young children, all while holding on to hope.
Both of them deserve better. We deserve answers. They need to be brought back home safe. It's been 6 months, too long.
This case has truly affected many, as is demonstrated here this evening. I can assure you that we have not wavered in our commitment to determine what has happened to Lilly and Jack. Our major crime investigators are working every day to determine the circumstances of their disappearance.
It marked the first time since May loved ones from all sides of the family came together. Tensions have been high since the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray.
Oh, look at these. That's Lily. Look, her little face hasn't changed, has it?
Left her boyfriend Daniel Martel at the search scene the day after Jack and Lily disappeared.
I didn't miss the first vigil, and I would definitely not miss this one. Definitely not on Jack's birthday. It's an important date for everybody over the last 6 months, and I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Brooks Murray did not attend the vigil. Her family says,
Yeah, he does say some funny things, doesn't he? I wouldn't miss this for the world, you know, like as if it was a party or something. I don't know, is this, you know, has Daniel done something and this is his strategy, you know, to be public, and does he think that this makes him look more innocent? Or is it just part of his character? Let's just watch that again.
Disappeared.
I didn't miss the first vigil, and I would definitely not miss this one. Definitely not on Jack's birthday. It's an important date for everybody over the last 6 months, and I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Brooks Murray did not attend the vigil. Her family says she quietly marked Jack's birthday with her mother, and gifts from the vigil would be delivered to her. The children's paternal grandmother, Belinda Gray, says she appreciates the outpouring of support.
People have beautiful hearts, and I know if we give them a chance, everybody can help.
Yeah, so we mustn't forget it's not only Malaya who hasn't gone to the vigil, but also the biological father hasn't gone to the vigil. His mum has turned up there to represent him, I suppose. I think for Malaya, she'd just be in bits, you know. I still wish we knew why she left so abruptly the next day.
Everybody can help, and everybody wants to help. So I think this is beautiful.
Angela McIver, CBC News, Stellarton.
Let me just put that down. Hi, Heather. Heather, I was worried about you. I'm so glad you've come onto the chat because, yeah, as soon as I saw that about the stabbings at Huntingdon Station, I thought of you because I know you're often going off on your little travels to London and this. So, yeah, I'm glad you've come on and you're okay. I did wonder. Yeah, so anybody who doesn't know, that's something that's happened in the UK last night. I think it was around about 7:30. Yesterday evening, there's been a multiple stabbing attack on a train in Peterborough area, isn't it? So yeah, we've not got. I will be talking about that. So that's at some point, but they haven't released hardly any details yet. So all we know is that I think 9 or 10 people have been stabbed on a train, and 2 people have been arrested, but we don't know any details. So, you know, it's terrifying, isn't it? Really, it is terrifying. On public transport, you know, like that's scary, isn't it? It's like they need bloody security guards or something on these trains, you know, because when you're on a train like that, what can you do? You know, you can't get off, can you? They pulled the emergency cord and the train driver drove into the nearest station. But anyway, I will be updating about that when we know anything. But Heather, I'm glad to see you safe and everything. But I did think about you as well. In fact, I was going to email you later and make sure you were okay. So there we are. This is the latest with, you know, this crazy case or this mysterious case. Not many cases that I've seen that are as mysterious as this. I mean, even like Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells, etc. You know, it's normally one child. It's so unusual for 2 children to go missing in any circumstances, be it accident, be it foul play, be it misadventure. Very unusual for 2 children to disappear, you know. So and all the mystery that's involved, in this case. The bit of blanket found on the branch, was it a plant? The boot print found, was that a plant? Did the neighbours hear cars driving around or didn't they hear cars driving around? Because the police haven't confirmed it, but the neighbours are adamant that they did hear them. You know, so why did Malaya leave the very next day? You know, there's so many mysteries in this case. You know, it couldn't get more mysterious, really, could it? I mean, you know, but at the end of it, at the centre of it all, are 2 little children that nobody knows where they are. Where are they? Where are these 2 little dots? Where are they? Bless, bless, bless. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think in comments. Do you think Daniel's involved? Do you think Malaya's involved? Do you think that these kids have, now everyone seems to be saying they don't think they wandered off into the woods. I've never thought that they wandered into the woods, not too far anyway, because how could they? But of course, some accident might have befallen them before they got too far into the woods. They could be in the water, they could have been abducted, or there could be some foul play from within the family. And, you know, but all we do know is something happened to them, and somebody somewhere knows what happened to them, unless they did wander into the woods, and that's why people don't know. They're somewhere. People don't disappear into thin air, do they? There's always a reason. But anyway. Okay, so I will see you really soon in the next video, as always. I'll probably make a video when we know more about these stabbings on the train in the UK. But even if not, if we don't get more details through today, it could be tomorrow before we get proper details through. I am back later, and I have a premiere coming out later on today. A case from the UK, and yeah, a very important case that needs to be talked about. And as I say, I mean, it's an older case, it's a murder case from a while ago, but there are, you know, it's very, I just wanted to talk about it. I've been wanting to talk about it for ages, and it'll tell you as well, this is where it all came into my head about, you know, the banality of evil. People living next door to you, waving alone, like you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Just nobody knows, do they? So it's not always the usual suspects that are bad people. You know, you can't look at someone and think, oh, well, they've got tattoos, so they're a bad person, or they've got long hair, or they're an immigrant, or they're this, that, or the other. Evil can, unfortunately, be within anyone, and the more ordinary someone appears on the surface doesn't mean to say they're not extraordinary behind closed doors. Okay, I'll see you later, and until then, take care of yourself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, that's very important, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye. Enjoy your Sunday.